Some of the better epic quality nukers in this game include the likes of course, good old Gembo, the Dishonored, Ethelyn, the Golden, two extremely powerful PvP nukers here in Ethelyn and Gembo. One that is not talked about half as much, however, is Slixus Stripey. Slixus brings a double hitter A1 with a chance of placing stun debuff at a 30% land rate, not too bad. A very hard hitting A2 skill, which actually surprises me at how much damage it does in some situations. Each hit ignores shield and increased defense buffs, as well as healing for a bit of the damage inflicted. Good multipliers on this, by the way. And then on his A3, Slixus brings an attack all enemies before attacking buff with increased crit rate and increased crit damage buff for a couple of turns. Now, the multipliers on this A3, when you compare them to the likes of Ethelyn's AoE skill or Genbo's AoE skill, are a little bit lower on Slixus. He's a bit more single target focused, which in some situations is a positive, in others it's not so great. Just how hard can he hit, and is he worth building on your account, man? So welcome to another episode of Busted or Bad, this one for Slixus Stripehide. Well overdue. Before we get into it, man, if you're looking to start off a new raid account, man, in 2025, or you know somebody who is, send them the beginner promo link that is down below this video and have them use that link to create a new raid account. All you're going to do is click on that link down below, use that link to create a new raid account, and for all of the free stuff that you see on screen right now. A free start, a legendary champion with Basilius Varanus, powerful legendary even without skill books. To be fair, he's one of those, you know, which is great. And then a few free epic champions as well as you level up your account. All of those A tier plus epics just arriving in your inbox as you level up your account, man. Best beginner promo link, go on! And let's do this, man, with good old Slixy. This is the build that we've got him in. I've not got him in anything supremely extraordinary, really. It's savage gear, it's a bit of crit damage gear. The crit damage gloves, they did ping stat into attack percent. Not crit damage, but attack percent, which I settled for because they're not the best pair of gloves anyway in terms of stat rolls. It's a bit of a hand-me-down gear build that I've got going on the Slixus. We do also have a crit damage amulet that rolled into crit damage, and that's great. And we're boosting up the crit damage just a little bit further by throwing a Malefic Talon on our Slixus as well. And this is the build I'm going to test him in. Nothing mega extraordinary, I feel. Ooh, apart from the boots. The boots are lovely. Oh, never mind. I thought that they actually ping statted into attack percentage. Never mind. I'm misremembering. Either way, he is 2 times empowered and 3-star awakened. Again, I don't think that's like super extraordinary. At least not compared to the likes of some champions on this account. You know what I mean? Now, while Slixus's kit doesn't really perform that well in most PvE situations, in spite of him having good in-game reviews into Dragon, we'll go ahead and test him there as well. It's actually Ice Golem's peak, where I am getting a tingling feeling that Slixus might actually be quite decent. This right here is the Ice Golem test team that we're going to run him in. Bunch of empowered and awakened champions here, but trying to keep it at least to epics for testing in stage 25 of Golem. And so if this works pretty good in stage 25 with all these empowered and awakened champions, if you don't have all these empowered and awakened, you know, epics, but you've just got regular epics that are kind of similar to these guys, it should work pretty good in stage 20, at least for stage 20 farming. Slixus's AoE skill, being a little bit weaker than the likes of an Ethelyn or a Gembo or whatever, actually favors him quite a bit going into the boss, because it means we can just let him run on full auto and we don't have to worry too much really about his A3 skill coming out and triggering the boss's counter attack. Of course, we've got some other sort of Ice Golem specialists on this team just to help us get to the boss and help with our survivability a little bit, but I don't know, man. I'm just curious to see what he can do against these waves and how his damage compares to the Phalanx as well. That's also going to be the big test. So throwing in like 78k, 80,000 damage AoE hits against these nerds so far. Nothing supremely extraordinary, but it's going to be interesting to see where his damage ends up by the end of the run compared to the Phalanx, who I actually have built out like pretty decently. My Phalanx, because I do use Phalanx in hard Ice Golem. So I've got to say, Slixus's damage against the waves so far, not looking that incredible to me, especially if the enemy doesn't have up decreased defense, which I don't know why Deacon isn't putting that up more often. So far, it seems very fine. Seems fine, right? That was a like pretty decent hit right there. That was actually his A1 skill, smacking him for like a double 59k hit there. So that was actually pretty good, making me eat my words there just a little bit. That was quite nice. AoE skill there, hitting in for 114k. That's pretty good as well. Okay. Oh my god, dude. Huge counterattack pile on in. Yeah, let's just see what his damage is like at the end of this, man, compared to the Phalanx. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he's more single target from the Phalanx, looking to help us out against the boss, right, by killing off the boss's minions. Let's see how hard he can smack into, for example, the boss's minion on the left just now. As his attack is coming on up, and we'll slow-mo this. Attacks in pretty decently. Compared to the Phalanx A1, though, I know the Phalanx is built better than the Slixus on this account. obviously, but I feel like even if the Fennex was in the same gear, he'd probably be doing still more damage with that A1 than the Fennex would be. Now, I know that's not fair to compare Fennex to Slixus exactly in Ice Golem. Fennec's been like a specialist into this dungeon at the end of the day. You know, it's his job to be a block revive, single target sniper against the boss for killing off those boss's minions and just blocking the revives. And that's great. Slixus, I feel like he should have more damage to make up for the fact that he doesn't bring any of those extra tools if you were looking to use him in a PvE scenario. This is actually genuinely the first time that we're ever testing Slixus, by the way, in any kind of PvE scenario outside of Minotaur and like wave content and stuff like that. How did he do in the end? The long and short of things, he did actually out-damage the Fennex by about 800k. Did he earn his spot on the team? Well, it's a little bit hard to judge. I wish there was a little metric that could tell us how many times he actually landed his stuns, for example. That might actually be quite interesting to know as well. How much did he lock down the boss's minions? That's something that we can't measure in those numbers. But is he worth building out as like an Ice Golem specialist? I mean, let's be real, probably not, right? And so it's classic arena and arena modes in general, where the Slixus has got to then perform. And again, he's up against Genbo. He's up against Ethelyn, right? Ethelyn smacks very, very hard. The Void Epic Ethelyn NUKE, and he places a block active skills buff on an AoE, debuff on an AoE, you know? And so Ethelyn brings that extra utility. Genbo hits like a truck. We already know that Genbo hits harder than Slixus with his AoE skill, right? Which is like the most important skill to kind of get right and be smacking with on your AoE nukers. How does the Slixus do with his? Hits plenty bloody hard. Now, of course, like all Void Epic nukers, the Slixus has got that bonus going for him that, of course, he's Void Affinity, meaning he doesn't care what affinity the enemy team is. He's never going to weak hit. He's always going to get that big smack off. The only thing slowing him down really stone skin buffs and the like. And so that's useful to have. Does he have any other features that make him stand out above the likes of Ethelyn the Golden? His damage is like totally reasonable and fine, by the way. For a champion that's in like hand-me-down-ish gear on my account, I think he's doing pretty solid. Oh my god, hang on. This reminds me, I'm a bloody idiot. Part of the reason I wanted to do this video is because I pulled a 6-star soul for Slixus. Oh, we didn't even equip it on him. I forgot all about it. Okay, he's 6 times awakened now on this account. That maybe changes things a little bit. Oh god. This is the most disorganized episode of Busted Not Bad ever. So he just gained all kinds of crit damage. His blessing is now exponentially better. His Crushing Rend blessing that we're running him in. He's faster. He's all of these things now. And so, god, I can't believe... Oh, wait a minute. No, don't change blessing. What am I doing? Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to do that, man. That's so stupid of me. Well, now we get to do like a back-to-back damage test, right? Let's throw him in against this team right here. So he's hitting like 150, 1 or 2, like 200Ks he actually managed to hit as well in those previous tests just now. What kind of damage is he hitting now with the 6-star soul? Let's see. Okay. Pretty solid. I mean, the time that he hit 200k before, I guess he just got like a really big Crushing Rend roll, you know? Whereas now he's getting it much, much more reliably. He hit very low damage against the Rotos because of the Rotos' passive, but whatever. The long and short of it, however, is that his AoE attack will always hit for less damage than the likes of a Genbo's AoE attack. It just has low multipliers. That's it, you know? And so he's always going to have that disadvantage in like a go first arena team. I guess the Slixus' main benefit comes in from his double hit A1, which can give him like extra utility and allow him to do things like attack beyond, for example, a UDK's passive, and that's both his A1 and his A2 are both double hitters, and the A1 will ignore shields, increase defense, strengthen, all that stuff, and so he's actually able to attack through the UDK shield because the second hit will go through and be able to kill off the Sun Wukong here. So there's a bit of extra utility in that, you know. He does have that advantage over Genbo. To be honest, overall, if I had to pick between the two champions, which one would I actually build in an arena squad on like a new account, you know, if I just needed an arena nuker and I had all three, Ethelyn, Genbo, and Slixus, I think I'd probably pick the Ethelyn just because he brings a block active skills in his kit. Like this A2 right here, it just makes him extra good into wave content in PvE, right? You can shut down waves of enemies in PvE roles, which is fine, and it also makes it so that if for whatever reason he doesn't get the kill with this A2, he can lock enemies out of using their skills and just make the fight a little bit easier. Just very, very good, right? Love Ethelyn the Golden. I tell you what though, I think I actually would already, just based on what we've seen so far, I would consider building a Slixus ahead of a Genbo, with the only caveat being, I actually like Slixus' kit more than the Genbo, because at least he brings a stun on his A1, which I think is quite good. Genbo has a chance on hit on his A1 of stealing a random buff. Depends which one you prefer. I personally prefer to leave the stealing of buffs and buff peel and stuff to my other support champions on the squad. Genbo brings the 20% ally speed aura in all battles, which, you know, depending on where your account is, this might be like one of the better speed auras that you've got on your account going into arena, at least for use in tag arena and stuff. You can't have an arbiter in every team in the early game, you know? But pound for pound, I'd rate like Genbo as like a 7 out of 10. Okay, would I? No, it's still like a 9 out of 10 as far as epic nukers go. I'd give Slixus like a 9.1, just because he's got that little smibble more versatility, in my opinion, at least. Now, another thing to consider with Slixus Stripe-Eyed is that, dude, I gotta be honest, when you look at the Lizardmen faction in general, okay, and you look at the rares and the epic champions in this faction, it's very, very easy to look at the rares and say, okay, there's like no damage here amongst these rare champions. Not really, you know. Technically scroll on down and try and make a case for building Saurus as a damage dealer into faction wars for Lizardmen as like an uncommon option. For most people, that's not something that you're even going to consider for your account. And so you turn to the epic champions and you take a look at the possible damage dealers here. What do we got? A Basilisk brings an attack all enemies on the A1, self buffs with weak increased attack, and then brings a single target stun on his A2. That's kind of all Basilisk does, and is really the only competition to take into something like Faction Wars for Lizardmen as a budget option damage dealer. Now, is Slixus budget? Well, he's a Void Epic, he's a little bit tougher to get your hands on. But at the same time, if you got any better bloody options than building a Slixus for Faction Wars as a damage dealer for your Lizardmen until you find a better legendary option, I'd argue probably not. And so for me, his review score of a 4.9 into Faction Wars for Lizardmen is actually well warranted given the limited options that you've got with this faction for just good solid damage dealers without dipping into legendaries. Now, one thing I will say is that on hellhades.com, this is what Slixus' reviews look like on hellhades.com, man. A lot of 2 stars, okay? Decent arena ratings, which you guys can't see on screen right now, but the arena rolls, you know, 4.5 stars. I agree with that. As far as epic nukers go, I think he's pretty solid in arena, but I gotta tell you the truth, I think that these PvE review scores, as much as I'd love to be a hipster and say that he's actually like, oh, he's better than a 2.5 star into Ice Golem, okay, maybe he's a 3 or a 3.5, he ain't that good though, you know? Slixus suffers from similar issues to those that Genbo suffers from, in that, yeah, he's a pretty good, like, PvP damage dealer, but outside of PvP and faction wars, he just kinda struggles to flourish anywhere else in the game. He's good at smacking stuff. That's it. No decreased speeds, no 10 meter decrease, no real utility. You know what I'm saying? And like an arena specific aura as well. He's got all the same weaknesses that Genbo's got, man. And so is Slixus Stripe-Eyed busted or bad? I'm gonna give him a very, very tentative label of busted. I think that he's quite the slept-on Void Nuka, like epic champion Nuka. I think that he's at least on par with Genbo the Dishonored, who again does hit slightly harder with his attack all enemy skill on Genbo's A2. Hits slightly harder, but Genbo kills better single target, brings better single target killing potential with his rather hard-hitting A2 that ignores all kinds of defensive buffs and stuff like that. And of course brings a stun on his A1, which maybe slightly more useful into wave content. He's not spoken about enough, but is he going to set your account on fire? He's going to help you out in arena for a little while, and he's going to, he's going to kick some ass in faction wars, and that's lovely, but who's out there getting super excited about faction wars damage dealers, unless it's like the last faction that you need to get your hands on Lydia, and you just need to build a damage dealer? Fair enough, you're going to get excited about pulling a Slixus Stripe-Eyed. And so for you, you might agree that he's busted. But then again, if you've already got a good legendary damage dealer for your Lizardmen faction on your account, you might just put him straight into the bad category and vault him up. And so there you have it, man. Joy to build this champion. I am going to enjoy using him in wave content, in Kes City and all of that good stuff. And it's great but not a massive amount to write home about, man. Have you built a Slixus on your account? Let me know down below, man. Do you still use him? Where do you use him? And how are you finding him, man? Do you regret building this guy and sinking the skill books into him and all of that? Or do you still get good use out of this guy on your own account, man? Let me know down below. Hey, thanks for stopping by, man. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and all of that good stuff. And of course, while you're down there, if you're looking to start off a new raid account, make sure to get that done by clicking on the beginner promo link that's down below this video at the top of the description box. Use that link to create your new account for all of the free stuff that you see on screen right now.